Welcome back to Doobrey Stay. Today on Doobrey Stay, we're in Mrs Doobs' car, which is an F20 116 BMW, and we want to upgrade the MMI system or multimedia system to utilise CarPlay. Let's go. So the existing car system is an older version of the MMI, and you have a mouse down here and you have the screen up here, but the problem that we've got with the car is that if you go to the telephone and try and Bluetooth connect to Mrs Doobs' phone, which is an iPhone 10, then it won't Bluetooth. Apparently this is so old that it won't actually connect through to the newer iPhones. Also on my car I've got Apple Carplay, and it's absolutely brilliant. It allows you to use Google Maps, it allows you to make telephone calls, everything that you absolutely need. Now, unfortunately, because we can't Bluetooth Mrs Doobs' phone into the car, we can't make telephone calls while she drives. For the navigation, it's an old version of navigation. It's from about 6 years ago. And in order to upgrade that navigation, you have to buy the CDs from BMW, and they're really expensive too. So I've done some investigations, and I found a special MMI box which you have to retrofit into the F20 BMW, which means you have to take all of this off, all the front of the screen here has to come off in order to install the new unit. So this video is going to be me installing the new unit. In order for me to do that, the first thing we have to do is disconnect the negative battery terminal and then come into here and start stripping off this dash. So let's go and take the negative battery terminal off. So back of the car. Open her up. In the back of this car, I'll just move my socket set. Underneath the glove compartment here, you have your battery. I'm just going to undo that negative terminal there, and then we'll move back around to the front. So that's the battery terminal off. And what they recommend is on the just shut that on this cover here, on this lock here, just wrap a cloth around it so the car can't actually shut its boot, because if not you never get back into the boot to reconnect the battery up. So we put this on here and gently shut the boot, then it can't actually lock, which we don't want it to lock. Now back to the front of the car. Okay, what we need to do is move my seat back. And when you start stripping this off, now we've bought a trim tool removal set, which will help us remove these bits. We have to remove the fan. We have to remove the vents first, then we remove the front of the head unit, then we remove the display, then remove the head unit out, and then we can install a new box, which I'll show you when we get to there. So first and foremost, let's start stripping this out. I tried to find a really simple video on the internet of how to remove this in the F20. And it's really not clear. So I'm going to do it now and show you. So you take one of your tools, this happens to be a flat one, you need to get behind the side of both of these two and then put it at the top while you lift it gently out. So you push and then it clicks, repeat on the other side and it clicks. It's actually that straightforward, but nobody often shows you that. And you should, I'm going to have to do the bottom as well, pop it out. But be careful, because you do not want to damage your car. There we go. Pop that down there. And then on the back of this, there's a couple of connections. I'll just show you. You've got a connection, let's let it zoom. You've got a connection here to remove this button. And there's another connection on the back here, which you have to remove. And then you can take this entire unit out. So let me just quickly do that. Clip there, and this is the first time I've done this, by the way, so I'm pretty new to this too. You have to there we go, just push it up. So that's those two. So that's the first bit out. I'll just zoom out. That's the first bit out. There's a connection just here, and there's a separate connection just there, and that's these two wires here. So that's the first bit done. Pop that down in the footwell. Next thing we have to do is undo these torque screws here to remove this part out of the dash. So I purchased some torque screwdrivers. I think this is a torque 10. I'll just check which one it is. That one there. So just undo this. Peel some of it. Sorry, and I believe this just pops off at the front. Oh, no, there we go. That was actually really easy. And there's a connection on the back here. I'll just show you that connection. There's now a connection, if it'll zoom, the connection just here, which I'm going to disconnect. Okay, I've struggled to get this cable out, but it shouldn't stop me doing what I need to do. Next thing I want to do is remove the head unit. I'm just wondering if I should remove this bracket down here as well to make it a little bit easier. For now though, I'll remove the head unit and we'll go from there. Left and right. And the head unit should pop out, which it does. Okay, now then, there's also two screws up here to remove the screen, which we have to remove because you have to change this cable here, which is the screen cable, for a new one, because that screen cable goes into our new unit and then the new cable goes into this one here. So we'll do that while we're here too. Screen cable, screen, and take that screen. And then you should be able to lift the screen vertically. There we go. And you should be able to reverse it around. I'll just move this back a little bit, give me a bit more space. Turn the screen around and then take this fibre optic cable out here. So with a bit of persuasion, I managed to get the purple cable out up here, which means the screen is now free. So I'll pop that in the footwell and we'll start adjusting the next bit. What I know we've got to do, we've got to feed the purple cable back through the hole, and we feed the new cable up through the hole. So let's just pop that through. This is the fibre optic cable for the screen. That goes all the way down, down, through the various gaps. That comes out here. So that's on the back of the head unit. Now, let me show you our new setup. This is our new setup. This is the new special controller box, which gives us CarPlay. It's got some connections for the power, for the antenna, USB, camera, video out and video in, some dip switches, and another connection on the back. And this allows you to have cameras on rear and front as well. So that's the unit we're going to be installing. We then have a brand new power connector. I don't know what you call this. This is a connector which connects into the power for the car and then into the back of the radio. We have a new antenna, which we'll put in shortly. And we have a new, which is what I'm just finding here, new optical cable. And then this goes into our unit and into the screen. So one end goes into the screen, which is the one with the 90 degrees, and we'll feed that back down. And then both the purple connector, which is one from the car, and the cyan colour or greeny bluey colour connector goes into our new box. So let me get this cable rigged up through there, put the screen back on, rig the cable back down, and that's the first bit done with the screen. So remember, the right hand connection goes up through the dash. So follow the same route where the other one came out of. And then what we can do, we can get our screen, connect this back up to the screen, and put the screen back on. This goes this way. Connect that in, that's in. Turn the screen around, pop it back down. Make sure it goes down level, which it does. And then we will screw that back in. Okay, the next phase is to put the harness in. This is the harness, and this will connect one end to the radio and one end to the car. So just undo that and connect it up. Now, apparently on some of these you've got to move the fibre optics. So let me have a quick look at that. Okay, they come out. They go to the new connection, which is over here. So go that way into here. They on the far right. Okay, this goes into the head unit. Right, otherwise, go there. Into that. Into the head unit. Put this in here first. Start with this goes into here. So it goes into the head unit. And close it. Right back this one into the on, which is the way we show you. I'll do it from my heart. So it goes that way. And then push that back. Push it in. And it's in. And close it. And push it back right there. Okay, that's that bit done. So that's, I'll show you the back of that. So in the back here, I've plugged the connector into the head unit and the connector into the car, but I've removed fibre optics from there and I've plugged them into here. That's an important point for this particular unit. Okay, now we've done that, the next bit we're going to do is start getting our fancy panty box in. I'm just looking at the best way to put this into the car. You need to start plugging in. This is the optical cable that went to the screen. That now goes into this optical cable that goes into the LVDS in. So I'll connect it up. It goes that way. Then we get our new purple cable, which has been fed down, which is here. I'll adjust these cables in a moment. I just want to make sure it all works. This cable then goes into the LVDS out. Just turn it around so it goes around correctly. We then have the CAN power. That plugs into the CAN power. Goes in there. We need to put an antenna in and the USB connector. The USB connector is at the back here. So this is the other connector, which is the USB connector. We'll plug that in as well. So this is the USB connector on the back of our clever little box. And then we've got our antenna, which is here. I'll hold off doing the antenna for a moment. And that's pretty much it. You've got to make sure that your toggle switches are set correctly. For mine it's 1 and 2. If you've got the bigger screen, you toggle down number 3. What I'm going to do now is actually plug the car, put the negative terminal back onto the car and see what we get on the screen. That'll be a first test. I'm going to leave all these cables out here. I can tidy all this up afterwards. So I want to just make sure it works. So I'm going to jump to the back, plug in the negative terminal and see where we are. Okay, negative terminal is done. Let me turn it on. That's a good sign. Okay, so we've still got the screen working. Now you've got to change to aux front for audio. So let me just do that. External devices, aux front. Okay, so we've done that. I just held the back button down. Excuse the helicopter for 3 seconds. This is CarPlay. Here we go. So that looks like it's working. Okay, to make things a bit easier, what I've done is I've now removed this bottom panel here. I'm going to feed some of these cables down and through behind the head unit. This will go back up here, but before I do that, I'm going to install the antenna. So the antenna is this little device here, and it's got some 3M sticky tape. I'm going to stick it, I think, behind the glove box here. There's enough space there for it to sit in here. I'll stick it onto the side there. I think that'll work lovely. So I'll take the 3M sticker off. Put it down here. And it'll stick nicely on there. So that's the antenna in. Okay, these cables are for the top. This is for the antenna. That needs to sit behind here. So we're going to push this below the box again, below the head unit. There should be plenty of space behind here to push all these cables back tidily. Make sure everything's nice and tight before I go any further. And then slowly push this back. Making sure everything's clean and tidy underneath. She'll come out, and there we go. That's the head unit back. I need to connect the USB connector up, which is here. And I'll probably rig this so it comes out on the side. Now this is the aux cable. Now I feel I have to plug this into the aux to give me the sound, which I did a moment ago. But what I'm going to do now is I think I'm going to plug the top unit in, because that's not going to come out anymore now. And I don't want to connect the fans up just yet. So I'm going to set this just here, just for a moment, just while I do a test with you guys. And then we've got two cables to try. We've got the aux cable here, and we've got the USB cables here. Let's put some power to the car and we'll give it a try. I'll connect up to my phone, like so. That's charging, which is good. Now you hold the back button down, and CarPlay's worked straight away. Look at that. Now then, I've noticed that the audio's not working. Now, I believe that's because the aux isn't plugged in, so I've got to figure out how to do that. So I'm just going to cheat for the moment, and in the front here there's an aux connector. I'm going to plug in the aux cable, and we get sound. Okay, so we've finished the installation now. One of the things I wanted to explain is that we had to remove this trim here and this cover here in order to get the cable for the microphone around the top of the car, and then we went through the dash into the back of the unit. Inside here, if I just reverse the chair, inside here is that microphone. So you pull this microphone out using the clips, you just pull this out, and there's a cable that plugs into there and then plugs down, as I said, down the trim here, goes around the back of the car, and then goes behind here. But it's all working now. I just brought Mrs Doobs to the car.
Hello.
We're just going to rig up her phone to the car, and we want to show you it all working just before we finish the video. So the way we do this, first things first, we turn it on and see everything starts up, and then you have to hold in this back button for 3 seconds. This is the first time set up. After that, and it's set up wirelessly, then it'll just connect into CarPlay. But you hold it up for 3 seconds and you'll see, it'll say on the screen in a moment, CarPlay. Okay, there's the CarPlay logo. And what we need to do, we need to connect up both the Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi. If you don't connect up both, it won't work. So I'll talk Mrs Doobs through that in just a second. So you come into here, into this screen. I'll leave the engine running. You go onto the wireless dev, click on that, and we connect mobile device. Now, Mrs Doobs, if you can go onto your Wi-Fi first and search. And go to Wi-Fi, and then wait for it to join. Then click on that CarPlay one there.
Yep.
And put the password is 8888.
Okay. Does the internet need to know this?
Doesn't matter. And then 8888. So that's 8 8s. And then hit join.
Right.
And then you go onto Bluetooth once it's done that. Go back. Go onto Bluetooth.
Yeah, go into Bluetooth.
Connect to the CarPlay there, and it'll give you a number on the screen in a second. Just hit pair. So you connect to both, say allow. This allows everything to connect. Now on the screen, you can see the iPhone is now connected. Okay, just want to explain what went on there. Because I've been playing and installing this for the last 2 days, I recognised that the battery in the car had got really, really low, so it was switching itself off, so the battery was such a low charge. We're going to charge the battery up in a moment. We just got the engine on just to continue with the process. So once we had connected Mrs Doobs' phone, you then come to the CarPlay settings here. Now, this is definitely her music, not mine, so I apologise now. But what we have on here, if we go to music, you can see you've got library for you, browse, etc. You can come down and then you can say playlist artist, go to playlist, acoustic mirrors, Billy Ocean. Let's do Captain Marvel. I'll only play this just for a second because there'll be copyright issues if not. I'll hit play, and what you'll be able to hear, if I turn it up, is playing in the background. So there's the music, that works. Now you can also come across here and go down to the little 8 squares down there. Click on the bottom. You've got your calendar, you've got your WhatsApp, you've got Spotify. As you can see, that now works. It's a full retrofit into an F20 BMW. Hopefully Mrs Doobs is going to be really happy.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy.
All we're going to do now is go and put the car on charge, on the battery on charge. But that's it for this week, guys. Hope you found it useful. Got any questions or queries, then please post them below. I'll do a link to the trim kit removal and the box unit that we actually got. Again, any questions or queries how to install this, just give me a shout. Thanks so much for watching Doobrey today, and we'll see you next week. Cheers then. Bye.
I'm going to go and listen to a sewing podcast now.